Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to ATM Spellbound. So since the last episode, it has been a bit of time. I've been getting quite a bit of work done around the base. Didn't get the Undergarden completely finished out, but did get a huge chunk of it done. I ended up getting sidetracked with the courtyard stuff. But I spent a little bit of time working over here in the Elementalcraft area. Not totally done, but as I was working on it, I kind of came to the conclusion that I really need to get a bit more of, well, not really necessarily progression, but I didn't want to craft things without you guys, like important things related to Elementalcraft. So I was like, well, I'll just wait. I did go ahead and I worked a bit on paths. So you can see some roadways and things. Worked a bit up here, basically starting to kind of shape things up how they should be. But of course still have a lot of decoration to do. This path runs off over in this direction, and then this of course crosses over to here where we have this little structure and we have our sheep. I kind of push them down the hill a little bit. And then back in here we have this little area. We're going to be using this here pretty soon. So this pathway goes up, and basically it just wraps up because originally I wasn't going to have anything right here. But then I was like, you know, this is actually my favorite viewing area for the base. So I decided to run a pathway up to here. So I also spent a little bit of time working in the base. Did get the stabilizers crafted up now that we have plenty of nether stars and we can make dragon heads and stuff. Did go ahead and do that. So the only quest that we're currently missing from the occultism stuff is the minor foliate, so we'll wrap that up here soon. I figure we'll craft the last one on camera. Now, like I said, the Undergarden area is not completely done, but one thing I would, well, actually two things I would like to show you guys really quick before we get into some Elementalcraft setup. I also did finish roading out spells and got to level 60. So let's see, let's go through here first. We'll head down to the Hive area. I spent a bit of time in this area, basically just polishing it off a bit. So we have a few more hives up here now that we've got plenty of nether stars. It's easy to make additional apiaries. This, of course, is a secret hidden door. It's 2 wide in this case, whereas the ones downstairs are just 1 wide. So, but did finish running these out and just kind of cleaning things up because this area down here, it's honestly one of the quickest areas to build out because it's all just kind of patterned as far as layout, but I just hadn't gotten around to finishing it. So I did go ahead and finish setting it up, and then down here. But our hive area is pretty well done. We're going to be spending a little bit of time in here in an upcoming episode. So, and then if we head up to here, I'm actually starting this recording though a little bit earlier. So I probably could have got a little bit more work done, but I was working on the Elementalcraft courtyard type area, so I was really wanting to go ahead and push on into this. But I did go ahead and run this out. Some of the pathways, like there was a pathway here and one on the opposite side, some stairs going down, I really just didn't need them, to be perfectly honest, so I ended up cutting out those areas as well, and kind of shrinking it ever so slightly from its original size. And then we have our ender portal. We've got some of our nice shroom lights behind there. So it's still kind of reminiscent of an end portal room with the iron bars. I decided to keep those. But instead it's all just being sort of retextured. So, and we have all of our portals around through here. So, and did move the Twilight Forest portal and the Undergarden portal down and cleaned up all of this. So, also added a few more plants to the sylph and just some little things like that. So, still have to decorate a bit, but just getting everything laid out. So, but yeah, I was pretty happy with the courtyard push because it's going to help me out a lot, because I do want to get this area hopefully polished off soon and the Undergarden finished up hopefully during the next weekend maybe, and then maybe a little bit of the interior because I'd like to focus on that. So anyways, what we're going to be doing today, we are going to be doing some Elementalcraft, of course. And we're going to be picking back up basically kind of where we left off in terms of progression. Now I did go ahead, like I said, I crafted up some Swift Alloy. I had actually crafted more white rock than that, but I used a bit here, so I don't have quite as much as I had originally made. So I may have to make, yeah, I'll probably have to make some more of that, but that's okay. But anyways, first and foremost, we're going to be crafting our improved element pipes. So we're going to go ahead and just craft up at least a half stack of these to get started with. Okay, no reward from that. And what we're going to be doing is, let's pop down, actually right through here. I've dug this out just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and run some element pipes into the bottom of our shrines, or our pedestals, for the different elements. Because these can accept element from the bottom. I want to say that in ATM 6 we also ran it through the bottom. It's just a little bit cleaner that way. And I will need some more improved element pipes. I'm going to go ahead and get another 32. As you can see, we're definitely going to have to craft more swift alloy before everything's all said and done. But okay, so if we do that, and let me just warp home. I think it'll be easier. Plus, it should shut down that music box mob. But if we were to go try to make a pure crystal right now. Alright, they're going to start sending element. Now, technically, I know that these will probably still have some element from the last time that we ran them. Alright, so it looks like that pure crystal has been made. Let me go ahead and we're going to need a few of these today, so I'm going to go ahead and basically craft up this one and 5 more. So we'll have 7 to start with. We probably will be crafting some more today, though. And I did actually remember to grab my time in a bottle. I wasn't holding it for the entirety of when I was building and stuff, but I did remember to grab it for a bit. Just so if we end up needing it, we've got it. I don't generally use it for much. It's very specific things, and it's just, you know, we might use it to craft something like from occultism, maybe. But even then, usually time doesn't really bother me. Now, okay, so let's turn our attention over towards the reservoirs. Now, of course, there's a few different types of these. Let me grab this, let me grab this, let me grab this. This is what I've got at the moment, which is basically going to cost us 6 pure crystals. And then we just need element containers. So what I'm going to do, oh, you can see it actually did a little bit of damage here. Actually, what is it for the improved collectors? They take pure crystals too. Let's get a few of those. Let's go ahead, get ourselves 3 improved element extractors. Actually, let's go ahead and get 4. So we can at least have 1 per element for right now. And that's going to leave us with 3 of these, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and make the reservoirs also for the elements that we can. So we're going to grab an earth. Let's grab a fire. Let's grab an air. And then let's go ahead. We're going to throw that in. Let's see. What's the order here? That, then the pure crystal, and then the earth. Get that going. And then we're going to come over and do the same for fire. And we're going to do the same for air. And remember, these are going to take a very specific element, so make sure you're crafting them fire with fire and so on. So now, what's in the element extractor actually does not matter. I was throwing them in the same ones as what they store, but that's just more of basically to help us remember which ones we need to craft. But what's in it, it actually doesn't matter. So, okay, so let's go ahead at this point. We're going to pull off this, and we're going to drop in our fire element reservoir, and you can see it's too tall. And then we're going to put on the improved element extractor. And then we'll come over and do the same for the earth. And then the same for the air. Okay, now let me pop down below. We're going to have to make a bunch more like high-end gems today as well. Because really I'm wanting 6 or 7 of all of these reservoirs. Massive element storage. Way overkill, but that's okay. Let me go ahead and plug up. I'll just go ahead and do these. Then I'm going to go ahead and switch this one as well over to the improved. Alright, now I forgot to get a stable wormhole, so I'm grabbing that real quick. But we are going to be doing a little automation at this point. Let's go ahead and speed that up a little bit. There we go. And we're just going to bind this. There we go. Okay, so let's pop back up, or pop back over, that is, over to here, and we're going to set up our stable wormhole. We're going to have this just be, let's actually put it right here. And then as per usual, we're going to be setting up input and output nodes, input here, output here. The input, we're going to have that be a blank filter because we're going to be filtering on output. So let's just go ahead, do that. We'll have the master be here. And we'll go ahead and link that over. And let's actually have two masters as per usual. One handling inputs, one handling outputs. So we're going to link that one up. We're not going to put a filter in this one just yet. Okay. Now at this point, we are going to be facading a couple of these pipes, mainly this one, and I want to say this actually covers. No, we'll be facading these over here and there, and up top there, here shortly. But let's go ahead at this point. Let's do a few outputs. So we're going to have an output here, 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 here. And then we're going to have an output setting here, and an input setting here. And let me double check. The pure infuser, all it is for is the pure crystal, correct? Well, and pure rock, which we don't care about, and the pure element holder, which we'll get. But that, like, these two things we're not going to be actually making consistently. Those will be special case. This one just for the quest, really, because I don't have any plans to build with it. This one just one time, just for spellcasting. So, what we're going to do is, let's grab our crystals. We're going to go ahead and automate the pure crystal creation first, and then we're going to automate crystal creation after that. Okay, so first up we have water. So we're going to say that you can output water. Now I believe that this will only accept one at a time, but let's go ahead just to make sure. We're going to say one. You can send one water crystal into there. Next up we'll have fire. So once again we're going to say one fire crystal. Then we'll have earth. And lastly air. Alright, now we're just going to link all of these up. All the outputs. And we're going to link them over to the input there, as well as this output right here. And this one we are going to be setting diamonds. And once again, one diamond. Now, you'll see that a couple of these got crystals. If we were to dump in all of our crystals, they would automatically go to the correct pedestals and they'd start crafting. Okay, so there's our pure crystal. Let's go ahead and grab that. And we're going to set this up. We're going to say that you allow pure crystals on the input. So you can just input all the pure crystals. However, we're going to have the output filtered, in this case with pure crystals. And we're going to limit this to, say, 64. So don't get more than 64 pure crystals in. And then we're going to put that right into there. We're going to add a few more things to that here in just a bit. But okay, now at this point, if I was to make more crystals, you can see that it did already get a diamond. But if I was to make more crystals, and we go in and we dump those into the system at this point, I can dump those diamonds too now. You can see they all get sent to the correct place. They're going to craft, and then it's going to grab that pure crystal until there is a stack in the system. And then it's going to stop grabbing those crystals. There we go. And we never linked this up, so that's why it's not going anywhere at the moment. We're going to link that up, and you can see the pure crystal got pulled out, and then it's trying to prime another craft for us. And then let's see, let's put a lever in here. And so if we were to flip this lever now, if we wanted to craft something like special case, then we could just flip that lever, empty this out, and it wouldn't be able to send any more items until we release the lever, and then it would be able to send the items over. And then at that point, this is pretty much set up now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set up our crystal creation. In order to make it a little bit easier for us for crafting, I would like to go ahead and I would like to get a ordered sorter. Basically just before we run out of stuff, out of swift alloys. So let's go ahead and set that in, and we're going to have the extraction here, which is the big side. Let's see. It's the nozzle, isn't it? Right click that, and that's going to push it to the opposite side. Like if I clicked it here, it would flip over to that side. So, but we want it to go to the element binder. And then what we're going to do, if we take a look at swift alloy, because I know I'm going to need a bunch more of this, we're going to need gold, drenched iron, redstone, air crystal. So what we're going to do is we're going to click in gold, drenched iron, redstone, air crystal. And if we take a look, if we hold shift, you can see the order here: gold, drenched iron, redstone, air crystal. So we're going to dump these into that. Air crystal. It was not inserting. There we go. It seems a little bit wonky sometimes, but you can see that. Make sure you're clicking the middle. Whoops. That was my bad. It wasn't done crafting. But make sure you're clicking on the middle part, and then if it does get stuck, you may have to do a little bit of finagling, because I had put them all in there, but it wasn't starting up for some reason, even though it had gold. I guess, I don't know. But now it's working. In this way, it can handle inputting the items, so we don't have to do that. Just kind of simplifies our life a little bit, since we do need more swift alloy. Okay, so now at this point, let's go ahead. Let's get more of these. More, always more. Improved pipes. 30 might be okay. So let's pop down. And let's start from this side, actually. We're going to go ahead and run these down. Alright, so like 2 more crafts should be good. So let's pop back up at this point. Actually, we are about to be out of air crystals at the moment. But you can see right now it's going to be requesting air crystals. It's not going to do anything else until it gets the air crystals that it needs. But now at this point, what we're going to do, let's see, the reservoirs were basically just the pure crystal and the pristine gem. And at this point, I'm really going to want like 8 of these, I think. We do have 2 already in the system, so. Okay, I'm going to throw all these in there. I'm going to make sure that I've got 1 of each on hand, basically just for setting up filters. Okay, now while that's running, let's go ahead and grab our gem crystallizer. Actually, probably... Yeah, let me go ahead and get... another like little batch of these going, just to make our lives a bit easier. Let's go ahead and pull off the element. Let's go ahead and pull off the element binder that's there. We're going to put the gem crystallizer here because we need a water pure gem. And what we're going to do, let's put in a diamond. Let's put in a pure crystal, and we're going to let this run. And I actually think we're running out of element at the moment. So. But there we go. There is our pristine water gem. Anytime you run a pure crystal with it, you don't have to use any shards. You can just use the pure crystal. So, and then what's the other one that we need? Air. Okay, let me break this off for a moment. And we'll put that on. And our diamond, our pure crystal, and we're going to let that run real quick. Now let me grab these, because these are going to be our filter crystals. There is our pristine air gem. Let's go ahead and pull that out. And we'll set this back up for right now. Okay, so now we've got we should have the pure crystals. We do. Oh, I'm actually going to need some more drenched iron real quick. We're going to be automating drenched iron here soon too. Okay, so let me go ahead and get 4 element containers. We're going to need some more element pipes. Okay, so there's that. And then let's go ahead, and basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to go through and set up all of our reservoirs to get made. And we'll be making a bunch more of these here soon enough, but I'm going to get everything automated before we bother making a whole bunch of reservoirs. I guess I could have done without setting up those, but I just wanted to. So, okay, there is our air element reservoir. So let's go ahead and set this one up. Now the only thing is, right now I've only got the one improved. It's going to kind of slow things down a little bit, because we're going to have these like constantly crafting for a minute. And these are huge buffers to have to fill, but I really want big reservoirs, you know. So let's go ahead, set these up. Like so. But we're going to go ahead and put element infusers on top of each of these reservoirs. Now you could do just regular storage tanks. I'm going to go with reservoirs just because they look better. Like, look at that. They just look substantially better than just going with like a small tank. But realistically, just setting up regular tanks would be probably the best bet. You know, if you're not worried about the way it looks. But let's go ahead. We are going to set up 2 nodes on each of these. We're going to have an output and an input on each of these. Realistically, you can automate this with the instrument output retriever. We will probably be using that. Well, I don't know. I mean, we could use it. The only reason I'm not using it here, we used it in ATM 6. The only reason I'm not using it here is it's a little bit more clunky of a setup, because then we have to have a chest next to the infuser, and nodes are just cleaner. You know, you don't notice them as much as a big clunky chest setting up here. So, and we'll do the first one on camera. I'll probably just do the rest of them off camera, because it's all going to be like the exact same setup. But let's go ahead. We're going to set up a filter, and we're going to say drenched iron, water crystals. You can input any amount, and we're going to come over to the water input line. We're going to put that right into there. Let's go ahead. We're going to connect that over to the output here. And we're going to go ahead and configure this to accept water crystals, drenched iron. While we're at it, let's throw in earth crystals, air crystals, fire crystals. And then let's also throw in white rock, burnt glass. And let's set these to, like for right now, we'll just say 64 of each. Keep 64 of all of these materials on hand. And we'll go ahead and throw that back in there. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's pop down. Yeah, I'm just going to open this up right here for right now. And we are going to go ahead and set ourselves up a little drawer system. It's going to be kind of similar to kind of how we have our blood magic stuff for this setup. And let's go ahead, let's put like a redstone upgrade into this. I am starting to run out of space at the moment in my inventory. So for example, we had earth crystals. You know, we got a power of 1 coming out. I'm actually going to be running everything just as a power of 1. So if there's anything in the storage system, because this is going to be a hidden one, so it's really just down here for toggling things. So if there's anything within the system, then basically shut off this line, because this should be able to handle our crafting plenty fast. So we're going to have an output routing node here. And then, of course, right back here, we're going to have a chest. We're going to have output routing node here. We'll run some redstone. We'll put dirt over the top just to block that. And then we'll have our drawer here with the redstone upgrade. Which actually at the moment I should do water crystal instead. So water crystal, drenched iron, and of course I'll continue it out. And then I've got my output nodes here. So what I'm going to do is let's set up filters. So this one, for example, this one's going to be making water crystal. So what we're going to do is we're going to put inert crystal into there. And let's say you can send 4, for example. And we're just going to put that into this node. And then we're going to have this one is going to do iron. Once again, you can send 4. Send it here. And then let's go ahead and put a input node in here. This input node, we're going to connect it up to our output node. It's right there. So we should see everything from this drawer system get pulled out once we put a filter in. So empty deny, there you go. Now of course the output up there is limited at the moment. Oh, actually this is shutting it off, isn't it? Yeah, because I've got redstone moving down through that. Okay, 1 second here. That's an easy fix. I always forget about that. Input and filter. And now we'll plug it up. So this should be able to handle the outputs for us. To the output node. And then we should see everything get pulled out of this. There we go. We have nothing left in the system at the moment. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to set up just a regular routing node just to make plugging this up all a lot easier. So we'll just set the routing node up, like say here. And we're going to grab all of our outputs and just plug them up. Because of course we can't plug them up together. Like I can't plug this output up to that output because then the redstone will power them off. So we're just going to do it like this. And then we're going to take and plug up this routing node that's sending the items from the chest to this input routing node. So what we should see is the chest should get some items in it because nothing is turning those off. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have just an input routing node on top of this chest. We're going to set it to, for the filter, just an empty deny list. Put that in, and then we're going to plug this up. It's going to be inputting items from that chest. That chest is managing our water-based stuff, so we're just going to plug it up right there. We're going to put a filter in with an empty deny. Oh, you know what? I never set up a master for that. So let's go ahead. Our master node is going to go right here for our input line. And there we go. Now it's going to start feeding iron over. Now what's going to happen is once it reaches 64 drenched iron, it's going to shut that off. This one... Oh, I did this as an input. Or an output. It's supposed to be an input. Let me grab that. So each one is basically going to have a master that handles its inputting, its items. And then it's going to have one master that handles all the outputs that go here. That's to there. Perfect. Let's go ahead and plug that up. And you can see that a drenched iron just popped into here. It had a redstone of 1 for a split second there. But if we take a look now, there's iron. It's going to get pulled out. And we should see it going into the system. Right now we have 8, 9, 10. and so on. And then, of course, once it reaches a stack, what's going to happen is this is going to not be able to send items to the chest. In this case, iron. It's not going to be able to send it to the chest anymore. It's going to run through the rest of the iron, and then it's going to start doing the inert crystals and crafting those at that point. So let's go ahead and dump that back. And then at this point, what I need to do is I basically just need to go through and set up the rest of these. In this case, this one is going to be the air one. Now, I don't know. Is there anything else we really want to do with air? We want to make the crystals, and of course there is the silk. I don't know if we really care to automate silk, to be perfectly honest, because it's just not used for like hardly anything. I don't think. We've got the Silk Touch Shrine upgrade, which we probably won't use. The Elementalcraft Grimoire, yeah, we'll make 2 for that, you know. The Hardened Handles, the Rune. The Hardened Handle isn't really used for anything consistently, so we probably won't automate Infused Silk. So this one is literally just going to be for making the inert crystals. Alright, now if we take a look in here, we've got 64 of all the crystals. Of course, burnt glass we already had 64 of. We've got 64 white rock. And I'm about to plug up the fire. I just was going to plug that one up last. This is actually... it's not able to run right now because I don't have enough element, because it's filling up these big buffers first. And of course, these things store a massive amount of element. So it's taking them just a little bit, which is fine. But let's go ahead, click that on there. Let's click that. There we go. Now we're going to start seeing the fire crystals going. And you can see all of this is plugged up pretty much identical. There is a piece of trim down here and on this corner as well. Okay, so let's pop back up. Now technically we can craft this as well as kind of the sequenced items through the improved element binder, but the element infusers here work great and they don't look as clunky as what we're going to have to do for the improved element binders for like sequential automation. So we're going to leave these up here basically just set up specifically to craft our base materials, and then we're going to have a separate area for kind of our sequential automation for Elementalcraft. Alright, now at this point, let's go ahead. We've got 4 pure crystals. Let's go ahead and just make 4 of these. There we go. There's 4 improved element extractors, because at this point I need to up my element production rate, because this is basically slowing everything down. It's stopping up because we just don't have enough source coming in. I need to make more reservoirs, but to do that I need source coming in, more pure crystals basically. So I want to start kind of steadily upgrading the system while our source builds up. So at this point, what I'm going to do, I mean, we still got a little bit more automation to put in, but at this point, I'm going to cut for just a little bit while this builds up. And while it's building up, once this gets done, let's see, we got 25. I mean, honestly, there's enough source in that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to clip off this connection, like right here for right now. And that way it'll stop sending source over here. And that way it can prioritize this area, send all of your element over here. And that way we can make up a bunch of pure crystals. Because at the moment, that's going to be my limiting factor for expansion. You can see that the nodes here are extremely drained at the moment. That's why they're just like fizzled almost. Where this one's still really, really strong for some reason. But the rest of these are all really fizzled at the moment. Because we're just draining them so hard and they don't have time to really stockpile their source like they had before, you know. But we're going to let this basically run, build us up some pure crystals while I edit some footage. And as we get pure crystals, we're going to make more improved element extractors and more reservoirs. And then I will be back in a bit. Okay, I got the additional 2 nodes added to each segment here. And you'll notice that they're all kind of popping back into vibrancy at this point. I think the ones on the improved are struggling the most consistently, but that's because I checked the configs the recovery rate within this pack, it may be the mod. I could have swore it used to be higher, but the recovery rate's only set to 5, so it's a little bit slow. Improved makes a small difference, but it does drain the nodes out to where, you know, they're kind of sputtering for a little bit before they kind of pop back to life. So improved is going to be more likely to kind of break down the nodes, and they'll have to heal themselves over time. But we are crafting, it actually just turned over, we're up to 11 pure crystals at the moment. It's actually crafting at a pretty decent rate after I got those extra 2 nodes of each type. You know, it's kind of kicking through those a bit better now. Of course, our buffer is set to 64. That might be a little bit high, at least for the moment. So I may tune that down slightly. Let's go ahead and grab this. Let's set this, honestly, 32 would be sufficient. Honestly, right now, probably 16 would be sufficient. Yeah, let's actually go with 16 for now, because there's a few other things that I want to add, and I'll keep increasing that back up to 64, but I'm going to do it in subsequent amounts and not all at once, or at least let the buffers fill up after we get all of the reservoirs crafted, because once we have all of our reservoirs crafted, we have 6 per element, 1 on each of these. You know, it's going to be a substantial amount of storage. Okay, this has been running. Tanks are starting to get some source built up in them, which does mean that the buffers within the shrines are probably filled up right now, or the pedestals. And we are backed up on pure crystals, though the buffer only being set to 16 at the moment. And I went ahead and made some swift alloy as well. Now at this point, I'd like to go ahead and automate our sequenced crafting. So let's go ahead and let's pull off our ordered sorter. Let me pull out this stuff, and let me grab an air crystal, and we'll go ahead and pull up this chest also, because we're not going to need that over here. So what we're going to do, let's put in, which we're going to be upgrading this like basically like right after. Let's go ahead and grab this, and let me get some improved element pipes. 4 will be fine for right now. What we're going to do, we're going to bring this over and up, this over and up. And there's really only 2 things that we're going to have auto crafting through sequenced crafting, and that's our 2 different ingots. Most everything else is like shrines and stuff that we'll only craft once or twice, and at the very least, it's not something that we need automated, you know. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and set up our air element container here and our fire element container here. And let me actually get one more craft of these. I'm going to be laying into making a bunch more reservoirs. I'm actually getting set up to set up our crystallizer area next, I do believe. But let's go ahead. Actually, I don't need another craft of these. I just need to click that. And that way I can start sending source over. Air's over there, fire's over there, great. So let's just click and click. That way all the fire and air is going to come over here for right now. Kind of having to play like priority game a little bit at the moment. But that stuff's coming over to here. And then we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves some element binders. We're going to make 2 of these. Now, we are going to be upgrading these in just a moment, but we need to have the element binder itself to upgrade it. So we're going to set this up right there and right there. And then let's go ahead. I don't know if I want like a standard chest. I think that's going to be ugly. Let's get 2 dusk chests. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to set up a dust chest here. We're going to set another one up right here. And we're going to put in our sorter right there. I want to click that to the bottom, and I want to punch this around to the side like that. And then we're going to set up our recipe for our swift alloy one more time. So gold, drenched iron, redstone, air crystal. And then we're going to set up a filter. And we're going to tell it you can send gold, drenched iron, redstone, air crystal. And send 1 of each. There's no reason to keep a really big buffer of this. So just keep 1 of each of these. within the system. And then let's get ourselves an output node. We're going to put that right here. We're going to say on the upside is going to be that filter, and then we're just going to connect it over to our input routing node. So there we go. The items are going to start coming in. They're going to be getting sent over and making our Swift alloy for us. So now at this point, we're just going to set ourselves up an input node. It's going to sit right here. We're going to say that you can input Swift alloy. Go ahead and grab that. And we're going to connect this over to our output routing node. And let's go ahead and take out our filter. And we're going to say you can send Swift alloy up to 64. And then we'll just throw that in there. And now we should say the Swift alloy got pulled out. And we should say it now consistently crafting our Swift alloy, keeping us up to 64 at a time. Okay, now over here we're going to be doing kind of the same thing. Really, really similar. Let's go ahead and put an output routing node here. But on this one, we're actually going to be crafting fire type, which is a little bit more expensive. It takes netherite, it takes Swift alloy, it takes pure crystal. So let's go ahead, grab this. Now, I don't know how much netherite I have at the moment. 161. Okay. Probably what I'm going to do is just go ahead and craft up all of that for now. But we're going to be getting a lot more netherite soon enough. So we're going to be sending netherite, Swift alloy, pure crystal, and once again, send one of each. So if we take a look, we've got all those items. That's great. Now, let's go ahead and get ourselves another ordered sorter. And we're going to set this one up here. Nope, I want you to go right there. And for making fire tight, it's netherite, then the Swift alloy, then the pure crystal. So let's just put that in. Okay, go. Go, go, go. Yes, this is what I mean. Sometimes it's a little bit wonky trying to set these things up. Let me just clear it. A lot of times that fixes it. There we go. Now we're in business. So that's going to start crafting us some fire tight. And then at this point, we'll just set up an input node. And we are going to need an additional output node at this point. So we'll just put it, say, right there. That lever will affect it, but that lever's, we're only going to be pulling that whenever we need to manually craft white rock or the element holder, which will be like twice, you know. That lever is only temporary, so that's why we're just putting it right there on the ground. Okay, we got our fire type. Let's go ahead. We're going to set that to that filter. And we're going to go ahead and put this into the input node. And then we're going to put it into here. And we're going to say keep. For right now, let's do 4. We will bump this up to probably like 16. Fire type, you don't use a ton of it, but we do need it for end game. We do need it for some high-end crafts within Elementalcraft, but I want to, just like with our pure crystals, I want to wait until our buffers really get filled before I just spend all my fire element making fire type. And we'll just pop that into there. And then at this point, all we got to do is plug this stuff up. So the input feeds over to here, and this is connected to this master. Okay, so it's already deposited 1 for us. So there we go. Now at this point, what we're going to do is let's grab the improved element binder. We should have everything that we need to craft this, minus the element binder and minus the element infuser. So let's go ahead and craft that. And then for this one, I'd really like to just break this after it crafts our next piece of fire type, because this is the one that I want to upgrade first. That way it crafts a little bit faster. Now the improved element binder can do the operations of both the element binder and the element infuser. So if you want to, you can automate all your stuff through that. Honestly, for that, your instrument output retriever and your ordered sorter, very, very useful for that. I think we actually had both going through on ATM 6, but I like this setup a bit more personally, and that way you have a little bit more dedicated crafters as well. So that helps out. That helps out also. So, but let's go ahead and get our very first improved element binder. We're completing a few quests here as well, but there we go. And this will be able to craft our fire type just a little bit faster. Okay, what do we get? Some XP levels, and we got 2 fire type from that quest also. So, and then I guess at this point, just because we can, and just because it has more durability, let's go ahead. Let me get this out, and let's go ahead and upgrade it. There we go. Let's see. Can I get a shrine just to finish that quest up? Also, the shrine upgrade core, just so we can unlock all of our quests. Because what happens is otherwise I forget to actually hold it, and I end up not getting credit for those. So, I want to make sure and go ahead and do that. Let's see. Now, at this point, I would like to go ahead and get to 3 more gem crystallizers. So, and this little area here is going to get removed, and our manual crafter, right now we have both the element infuser and the element binder. I'm going to be making improved element binders, and then we'll have them out here so that we have kind of our manual crafting readily accessible. It's not going to stay clumped over in this corner. So all this will get removed. And honestly, at that point, I may end up adding 2 more nodes of each type, because that way we have 8. That way we have 8 of each type, because why not? Let me go ahead and get pure crystals being made, or pristine. That's what it is. Yeah, pristine. Let me go ahead and get pristine of all the elements. And then at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pull up, like, say, this element container. But let me go ahead and get these crafting up. But let's go ahead. We're going to set up air element, fire element, earth, and water. And then on top, we're just going to have our crystallizers. So, crystallizers are still very accessible when they're high up like this. So, because all we're going to do is come through, pop in a diamond. And actually, I can go ahead and just put diamonds into these. Oh, yeah, actually, let's do that. Let's do output nodes. So that way I don't even have to worry about the diamonds. I just grab the pure crystals and I can just make the pristines. Let's go ahead and tell all of these that they can allow 1 diamond each. And we'll go ahead and throw these in down the line. And we'll connect it up to the input node. There we go. So then all I got to do is go womp, 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 and it's going to craft our pristine gems for us. But there we go. You can see we've got pristine gems. Water, it's not really running right now, but it will. It's just there's not enough element available at present. It should be getting close, I think. But now at this point, I really do need to craft some of the lower tier gems. So what it's mainly crude too. I think I need fine earth and I need crude of everything, because we never got any crudes. Let me just throw in like air here, fire here, earth here, and without any shards to boost it, I'm going to pull that out for now. Without any shards to boost it, it's very likely that we're going to end up with crude. We got a pristine earth. Literally nothing in it. We get a pristine earth. We did get a crude fire. We got a fine air. But I am noticing a strange amount of luck without putting in any mob shards. A strange amount of luck for getting pristine. And then before we end out this episode, I do want to go ahead and craft a few pipe cover frames. Hold shift and put those in. Like right there. This one we can't actually see the ground below it. But basically anywhere that we can see the ground, we just want to put a pipe cover frame and just click that in. And you can see that we can see through it to click, like to extract or something. If we want to change something, we can click through while holding, say, a pipe cover frame. We'll also need to add one right here. We'll need to add one. It's mainly stuff that's air related, pretty much. These, I'm not going to do these just yet. I think it's only going to be the air side, though. But I'm not going to do that just yet because I'm still upgrading over here, you know. With that, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode, so we're going to end this one out here. Let me take a look out here real quick. Just to see from above. See, look at that. It's so much more lively now with that and the fountains that I'm kind of still working on, but and then the tree and everything. But at this point, we're going to wrap up this episode here. Now, this does kind of end our Elementalcraft progression, but we are still going to be doing a bit with Elementalcraft over the coming episodes. We're going to be touching on a couple of the shrines in two upcoming episodes, two upcoming projects that we've got coming up. We're going to be doing a little bit of stuff related to character development in an upcoming episode. So we're going to have some Elementalcraft in that. And then, of course, we've got some quests to clean up and things. I do want to go ahead and make a couple more solar element synthesizers and a couple more lenses just to kind of set them up as decoration. I did test them between episodes. They will not run in the blue skies. But we will still be doing a bit. But I'm just going to let basically these buffers fill up at this point. I've got everything plugged back up now. I'm just going to let this kind of sit, run, fill up, craft pure crystals whenever it becomes available to do so. Or whenever it has the source to do so, that is. And then once we get like pure crystals up and going and stuff, I'll really push to fill this up with reservoirs. And then move this stuff and get our improved kind of manual crafters set up as well. But yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.